I'm terrified. Amazing performance so far from the U.S. men. Christian Pulisic, as he scored, he picked up an injury. What happened there?
Well, I think he got hit in the penis.
The U.S. is up 1-0.
Yes!
Could have been 2. I thought. I know
3.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the moment with Tim Weah there, who's been pretty good. Everybody's been pretty good for the U.S. Josh Sargent as well. The second goal is there for the U.S. men's national team because now Iran have to press for a goal. And because of a card situation, they don't really have a lot of options on that bench. This is really going to get that back line susceptible to a counter punch. The first one was hugely important for the U.S.
Massive, especially when you saw the frustration throughout that first half.
Because it totally changes the dynamic of this game and this Iranian team. First impressions, though, what'd you take away from that first half, which was electric if you're an American?
Yeah. So I think for the first half hour, you saw the difficulty in what this game was going to be. And frankly, the amount of quality that it was going to take to find the first goal. I think we've seen since the goal came in that finding the second might not be that hard. They just have to be sharp, and we'll get to the wastefulness that they had with certain chances. But the first goal required 3 perfect bits of play. It required Weston McKennie receiving the ball on the left side and hitting that switch over long distance and hitting it perfectly onto the head of Sergiño Dest, who opted, instead of a take down, head it across the area. And the one skill that we know that Christian Pulisic is elite at, it is having that alertness off the ball and making runs, particularly on the back post, to get there in time. He got inside of his defender, could only score. We did mention the hit that he took. He appears to be okay, but ultimately it is 3 superior bits of skill from 3 of the players that we talked about. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but credit to Stugotz, because he mentioned, hey, you guys have been talking up these U.S. players, and the U.S. players that we've been talking up that play for AC Milan, that play for Chelsea, and play for Juventus, provided the quality that the U.S. needed to score a goal in this first half.
Credit to Stugotz, and credit to us, by the way.
Yeah.
First leg down. Christian Pulisic, first goal scorer in the match. I really like the U.S.'s chances now. The first goal was essential for so many reasons. Misplay, do you think, by Iran's keeper in that situation? Do you think it was a little bit of a misplay by him?
I'd honestly have to see it again, because once a goal goes in, it's just pandemonium in here. But
just too far back on his line, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, a header across the area is not service visited with pace. Theoretically, you could get there, but no, I'm choosing, for both out of my own love of the United States men's national team, but also from what I saw in real time, to say that's just quality from the U.S. all throughout that build-up.
Tim Weah has had a couple of chances. You mentioned a header. What do you think about his decision in the box to not bring that ball down? I thought he had the time and space. You try to put a header on it. Not a pacey ball to put a header on.
Yeah.
You have to generate all that strength from your neck. It's almost an impossible situation to get something upper 90. I'm not really sure what the thought was there, but when you're in the box, you don't expect much time, much space. I certainly didn't expect him to have that much space to operate. Wrong decision, though, in retrospect. Easy for me to say.
Well, and honestly, if this game was still 0-0 at halftime, we'd be talking about Tim Weah. And honestly, I had some frustration with Weston McKennie in that first half as well, which is funny because he provides the hockey assist for the goal. But yeah, Weah had 3 really good chances. If you think about the one that he takes on first time, that he blazes over. The second, that's the header in the area when, as you said, it's a deflected shot from, I believe, Josh Sargent, kind of loops in front of him. And I understand the instinct, right?
You got to be Brock Lesnar to generate the pace needed from that spot.
Right, but it's also that he wasn't expecting for himself to have that much space, because it's a ball that's popped into the air.
Yeah.
And normally when the ball kind of travels like that, you're expecting a defender to be on you quickly, and he wasn't. And so he could have taken it down. And then honestly, the third, for me, one of the things looking ahead and looking forward is how can the U.S. capitalize on how open Iran will be going forward, because they need a draw in order to get through. I think the England-Wales result is probably going to go their way. They need a draw. They need a goal. So they're going to open themselves up. And the U.S. had 2 chances late. And they're going to get more in the second half. And both Weah and Sargent were just not clinical enough. It seemed like, no, you take it. No, I take it. No, you take it. No, I take it. And neither of them finished off what was a golden chance to go 2-0 up heading into the break.
I'm a fan of the officiating in this matchup. I like that they're letting them play a little bit. Nothing really ticky-tack. I thought Tyler Adams took a professional yellow in that spot. He absolutely had to. Luckily, he's not one of the U.S. players on a yellow right now.
There was a moment where we thought he was, and it was a terrifying moment. Thinking about heading into the round of 16 without Tyler Adams, he might be the most indispensable player in this team right now.
Yeah, his leadership. Let's talk about Weston McKennie some. We've asked openly, well, maybe not openly, privately, but we're going to ask him now. What is Weston McKennie really good at? What is he exceptional at? And the answer is kind of hard to find, and I know you spoke to Grant about this. What does Weston McKennie do well?
Well, I think in terms of actual technical skill, what we saw in that first half is the ability to switch the play. He had a couple beauties to Serginho Dest, so we know he's got that in his locker. But in the overall, it's kind of hard to explain other than he's just a player that when he plays well, the U.S. play well. And he's getting involved in chances. Yes, there are moments where he's very frustrating, where you sort of know from the second he embarks on a carrying run that he's giving the ball away. You can see that coming. There are times where he's not quick enough to play passes, particularly out wide to fullbacks that are on. And there are times where he frustrates me, frankly. Yeah. But it seems to be all worth it because he performed well in the U.S.-Mexico game. He seems to be like a big game player. And these are all dumb, intangible things. But there's a reason why Juventus wanted him, why Schalke wanted him, and why when the U.S. win, he seems to play well. It's hard to sort of identify before a game, well, this is what Weston McKennie brings, but I think he's still an immensely valuable player.
But it did seem like that game came alive when he came alive.
Yeah.
So I guess more fuel to that particular fire. I thought Robinson and Dest were really good. Love seeing them in an attacking mindset. You really see why Dest was signed by Barcelona.
Yeah.
If there is a frisky goal from outside the box, which right now the USA don't necessarily need, I was prepared to do the show where it was 0-0 at halftime and tout, let's see Dest take an ambitious take from the outside the box. Now, we got him where we want him.
Yes.
This would be, I don't know what the live odds are on sports books, but now that Iran have been taken out of their game, this should be pretty good. You mentioned the Wales-England game going the U.S.'s way. If this does draw, what exactly is the scenario once again for the U.S.?
Yeah. So if they win, no matter what, they're in. We knew that. If they want to win and win the group, they have to score 5 more goals. Which is probably not going to happen.
There might be 2 to 3 more goals in this one.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I say probably only because the U.S. don't have a prolific scoring record, but they could potentially, the floodgates could open. That's a very optimistic view. For me, if you're looking at a way for the U.S. to top this group, it's for Wales to nick a goal. It would be a 1-0 win. U.S. would have 5 points, Wales and England would have 4, and England would be ahead of Wales on goal difference. So come on, Gareth Bale in the second half. But you don't, I mean, in this bar right now, I think we've got 1 TV, maybe 2 on the England-Wales game because it's just all about the U.S. Get the job done in the second half. And for me, my approach is go get a second goal. Even if, like, you don't necessarily have to do it from a pressing, attacking posture, but prioritize getting the second goal as opposed to defending the one that you have.
And we are just 45 minutes away, potentially, from Chris Cody doing the work. So that is hugely important. Yeah, there you go. That's kind of like the, let's go. I think security once told him to go away because he just looks like any patron here at Bottled Blonde. He's with us. He's with us. But you can still punch him if he does that again. We're good. Man, VAR has really changed the emotional experience for celebrating goals.
But we were waiting for it was Dest to be offside.
It was Dest. I honestly, bad job with the back line of Iran because they held the line, all except for one person who was a good 2.5 yards off. Got caught sleeping. Can't make a mistake like that at this level. And right now, U.S. benefits. Predictions now go out the window. I don't think Iran is built for this situation. You did predict 1-1 though.
Yeah.
You didn't predict 1-1 in this fashion, where the U.S. look like the far superior team, get the early goal, and that takes Iran out of their game.
Now, again, when Iran has tried to bunker in this World Cup, they gave up 6 goals to England, and they're 1-0 down. When they went forward against Wales, they were pretty good. And they won the game eventually on 2 goals in stoppage time.
Should be noted that there was a red.
Correct, and Wales' goalkeeper, Wayne Hennessy, was sent off in that game, and that ultimately led to Iran being able to get those 2 goals. But they're going to be better. And honestly, the game that we saw them play in that first half does not suit them at all. They do not have the pace to strike the U.S. on the counter, and honestly, it's kind of astounding. We get to halftime, Iran have 0 shots. The U.S. completely negated them. Even in moments where it looked like they could be dangerous, there was nothing for them to have. Now, when they go forward, Can the U.S. still maintain that record and kind of limit their threat? That's to be determined.
Places to keep your eye on, Tim Ream. I don't think he's going to be as isolated. Those Iranian strikers were certainly put on an island. They had one opportunity to catch Tim Ream out of position. He did well. He's been solid so far.
Cameron Carter-Vickers has been very good as well.
So credit to Greg Berhalter for that selection. I know a lot of us wanted to see Walker Zimmerman. So far, so good. One area for improvement, I think it's pretty clear. Been a struggle all tournament long on these corner kicks. Christian Pulisic needs to get locked on these. If not, they may change their approach, which we saw with the most recent corner kick where they played it short. And again, the pacing it just wasn't there for Christian Pulisic. For better or worse, he's taking your corners. He needs to be better. That is the last criticism if the U.S. hang on that I will ever have of Christian Pulisic for at least the foreseeable future. Let's get this one. You have the result in hand. I want to come back here on Saturday. Hey, looks like I have an outside shot of coming back.
Sunday.
It's either the Dutch or it's either Senegal. So
let's focus on that post game right now.
What I think is classic look ahead spot right now. 45
no, we're not looking
minutes
ahead. Not looking ahead.
A hugely important 45 minutes coming up. It's actually going to be about 55 minutes. Yeah. And we're going to see plenty of theatrics along the way. Still plenty of room to be nervy. We'll be back with you live here on this YouTube page, youtube.com/LeBatard and Friends. Make sure to subscribe, get that notification, and also check out all the other fine things that we have going on right now at Meadowlark. Meadowlark has you covered, Chris. Why don't you tell the fine people what we got?
After the Whistle with Brendan Hunt of Ted Lasso and Rebecca Lowe with NBC Sports' Premier League coverage. #1 in the Apple Podcast charts. Also, we have Most Important Thing with Ashlyn Harris and Ali Krieger. Football with Grant Wall. We've got the Cooligans going. So much going on here in the Meadowlark family.
All right, and Good Rivals on Amazon. Second half is about to start. We'll see you post-game.